Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Microsoft Flight Simulator VR Cape to Cairo journey in a Cessna 152 without any GPS, using our eyes and some traditional navigational methods. Alright, we have done 11 flights so far. The last flight we went all the way from Windhoek to the border here of Botswana, neighboring country here to the east. Fairly decent flight, but at the landing I was too quick to attempt to make this landing. I was too high, had to go around, as you can see here. Second attempt was fine, but didn't do a good landing. I think the wind may have either thrown me or maybe I just made a bit of a mistake. But anyway, today we are going from this little airfield to this one. I put some, I'm not sure what it's called, Ganzi. I think it's a small town here in Botswana. But our goal is to go all the way here to Maun. But today we're just going to do a small flight. I'm at a new location in the real world, and the Wi-Fi here is a bit funny, so I don't want to gamble too much. We'll do a small flight, see how it goes, and that's anyway a good rule, you know. No VOR is in range. This line here isn't actually accurate. The automatic map distance just put that in. But yeah, so that's our end goal going to be eventually, probably next episode, to go all the way to Maun. So we're just going to do a very small flight today. Let's reset all. We can save this, sure. We're going to start here from, oops, it doesn't want to select it. Select runway, we'll start from runway 05, sure. Fly in that direction. Then we're gonna just again follow this big road. Remember, we have no GPS, we have no way of knowing our distances from many things, unfortunately. Maybe I can just double check that. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay. So this is one thing that I've never used before. It's called an NDB station. That is used by our lovely. This is used in our Cessna 152 by it's called, I think, ADF. I'll check now. Automatic direction finder, or I have no idea. I'll have to check that. But what I'm really interested is, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to have a look. It said, let me double check. It said 75 nautical miles. That's good. We are gonna use whatever we can. So let's go all the way 75, because that may make our world our life so much easier. Okay, great. I'm excited about this. So we'll still have to fly to this road at the very least. But then once we get here, we won't have to follow this road. We should be able to use the ADF to point us in that direction. I'll show you once we get into the cockpit. That's going to be interesting. Regardless, I think I'm still gonna just put these lines here in case we do get lost and want to see some distances. But I'm really excited about this. This will be the first time we are able to use this. There may have been opportunities in the past where we probably could have used it. What, did I do this? No. Why did this happen? Departure. Okay. Ah. That was a bit strange. Not sure what I did wrong there. We're departing from this one, yes. Landing at that one, sure. Okay, but if all goes well, if we get into this circle, we pick up our NDB station, we may just be able to go directly there. But But still, we need to think of some landmarks in case we get lost. There's a river here. Okay, that's good. I'm so excited. Let's get going. So we're just gonna take off, go a little bit to the right, find this road again. Easy. Okay. I forgot now what the code of that airport was. My internet is a bit slow, as you can see. It's fine. This road. Okay, this may take too long. Let's just remember what the code was. Foxtrot Bravo Golf Zulu. Okay. Foxtrot Bravo Golf Zulu. That's the one. Okay. Jeez, it looks so close, but it's still about an hour's flight. So let's take off in the morning. Okay, I am keen to get underway. Yeah, as I said, the Wi-Fi here isn't that great, but I did set the bandwidth a little bit lower. Let's hope that helps it, but there may be some stutterings here and there. So quite a long loading time. Okay.
Foxtrot Bravo Mike Uniform Traffic Cessna
There we
42
go.
taking off runway 05 departure to the north.
Let's bring up our... Ooh, I just need to remind myself 1 second. So I always forget to do this, or I sometimes forget to do this. But in little nav map, the tool I'm using, you can see both your position and the trail of your plane. But I fly with that turned off. I'll use it at the end to have an interesting look of how I flew. But we don't want to fly with that on, because that's not what we're here for. We're here for complete VFR flying. So that's the ADF I was talking about. I've never used it. So I'll have to make sure that I at least... there's a small chance that I may point in the complete opposite direction, but it's frequency 387 123 8 7. We shouldn't. What do those buttons say? BFO. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna assume we want it on ADF. Oh, is that gonna bite me a little bit later? Okay, so why is that? It's maybe useful at some point. Does that change? Okay, that changes that. As I said, all I know is that line will eventually point to that thing, I think, and I need to make sure. Does that line? Yeah, that does seem to align with our compass. 54, sure. 54. Okay, so that's going to be a new one for today, but we'll see. Let's just go to our beginning of the flight. You know, worst case scenario, if we get to this point, we don't seem to figure it out. We just follow the road, but I'm really excited. Okay, where can I put this map so that we can see it nicely? I don't think there's much else for us to configure. Pretend there's a little stand here on this chair. Flaps are up. Parking brake disengaged. Trim set. Let's go into Botswana. speed should be good. There we go. A lot of high trees right next to an airport. So we're going roughly northeast. Our road should be all the way that side. Effectively going close to 95 degrees. That's a little bit too much. I'm not sure for this meter when. I think it also transmits a Morse code. Let's see. Okay, the receiver is turned on the volume, so we should be able to hear it. But obviously only once we get into range.
Gaborone Center Cessna 42 is type Cessna 152 2 miles east of Foxtrot, Bravo Mike Uniform 4,700 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna 42, Gaborone Center. Squawk 1376.
Okay, I'm seeing more roads out of here than I expected to see.
Squawk 1376, Cessna 42.
This
Cessna 42 radar contact 3 miles east of Foxtrot, Bravo Mike Uniform 4,800 feet.
okay, that's the one with the railway. Although there's also
Roger,
a railway.
Cessna 42.
I hope. Is that a railway? Is this a railway? Seeing so many roads here. That road seems to go more east. I'm going. Going nearly southeast, but that also has a railway. Okay, here. Ah, yes, there's the railway. So I have to go to that road. That was almost a. That was almost a bit of a. Is that a railway? Does look like it, right? It's more in an easterly direction. That should be it. Let's have a look. So there's a town, there's a big road, and then one that... Yeah, okay, so that's probably that road that I was almost on there, and this is the one we actually wanted to be on. So easy to get lost. Alrighty. Now for the real question, how long and what is going to happen with our ADF here? So I think ADF is used even less often these days than VOR. I think it was probably initially replaced by VOR maybe, and then both of them are slowly being phased out, so you can imagine how few of those stations there still are. But if this works, it'll be very exciting, because anything that gives us some method of navigation is a huge bonus. Okay, I should probably have measured this distance, but okay, so if that distance is 19 nautical miles, I think I did, yeah, I think I set that point as look at me being smart. Okay, so that's about 19 miles. We're going at about 80 nautical miles, so that means it should take us what's that, 25 minutes? I don't know. The nautical mile to not do quick maths is still quite hard. I think it should be about 25 minutes, because that's a quarter of that. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. We've been flying for about 5 or so minutes, so we should be in there roughly at about 10, and then we'll see if we can discern anything meaningful from this thing. I'm not even sure what you call that dial. ADF bearing, probably. No, that's the compass you can tune there. I'm not quite sure why you would. I think if you set it to this, maybe. And then we'll just need to make sure that when we look at what that thing tells us where to go, that it roughly matches. Oops. It roughly matches that heading. Otherwise, yeah. See, the risk with that one is, versus just following the road, is we still don't really have distance. I'm guessing, if we do fly past it, I'm expecting it to also turn around like the VOR would, where the VOR would go from showing to from. So that's just going to be the other way around. It'll physically turn the needle, because the VOR works with radials, and this one is just an arrow pointing into that direction, I think. I'm not sure practically, engineering-wise, how that works. Probably some smart thing with 2 antennas or something, no idea. I'll also love to learn about that. Loved learning how the VORs worked. That's also quite smart. So it's exciting. I thought this would just be a relatively quick basic flight, but when I saw that marker, they're hard to spot on little nav map. I can spot them by basically toggling it and do a spot the difference, but because there's so few of them, and they're usually at airports as well. So, or the ones, like when I did that, the ones I saw was basically they were basically at airports, and then little nav map, it's a little bit hard to see them. Okay, still the beautiful desert here. As I said, we are gonna head towards the Okavango Delta, which is, it looks almost like a hand on the map if you take a look at it. It makes this lovely shape of, I'm not sure if it's technically swamps or what it is, but let's also turn this ADF beacon receiver audio on. We need to hear for when we make contact with that thing. But yeah, it's basically some wetlands here. It's really, really pretty. we I've been there, and we went camping, or almost glamping, with like very fancy tents and things. But you go there, or the place we went to, we went on these little they're almost like, you know, Venetian gondolas, but they call them makoros. It's basically a raft that someone with a very long pole pushes you forward. They call them polars. I still remember the name of our polar. Her name was GB. She was really cool. The only thing that didn't make her that cool is that she really loved spiders, and you go there through the marshes and the reeds, and the spiders love making their webs across the reeds, and our polar loved to catch the spiders. She stands in the front, I sat in the she stood at the back, I sat in the front, and basically just went through 20 or 30 spider webs, some of the spiders quite massive, but I quickly realized, you know, the difference between 0 and 1 spiders on you is quite big, and then 1 and 2 is like, okay, cool, now there are 2 on me. But as soon as you get to like 10 or 20, one more doesn't really make a difference, and you sort of just get content and just, you know, let it happen. They didn't bite, but I think that's just a little game that she liked to play to see how much she can freak out some tourists. And luckily I'm not that scared of spiders, quite like them. So it was so beautiful. The people at the lodge told us, whatever they tell you, don't swim in the water, there are hippos. And then the people told us, no, it's fine, you can swim, it's not that bad. So we swam. We shouldn't have, but it's still a really cool story to have said that we swam in the Okavango Delta. But looking back on it now, and when we saw the hippos as well later, probably not a good idea. Do not recommend, but it was really, really cool nonetheless. Okay, how far? Let's see. Let's just have a look. So it seems that this road and railway, oopsie, they do crisscross a little. Wonder if we can use that to our advantage. I've found myself recognizing small little patterns in maps a lot. Yeah, it's not quite showing me the. I really hope that I'm on the right road now. Why am I not seeing a railway here? I'm going east. I think I hear it. I hear the. If you listen very, very carefully, I hear the Morse code. Okay. What are you trying to tell me there? Does this mean... Okay. It's pointing to about 80 degrees, which I'm pointing to. So now the question is, if I point to like 30 degrees... Aha! Okay. So, my understanding is, yeah, okay, so there's a picture of a little plane right there. Beautiful. So we if the history books are to be believed, I think we just want to align that yellow line with our little plane. Does that make sense? I saw, interestingly, when I looked at this airport, let me just make sure we're still flying. When I looked at the airport, it was quite nice. Can this show me information here? It did show me. Oh, this is beautiful. Wind. It showed me the magnetic. What do you call it? Magnetic deviation, inclination. And I think it said 17 degrees west. Surely it'll tell me here. It doesn't. Okay. That's okay. I remember it roughly being 17 degrees. Now the question is, we're flying at about 80 degrees. And if, yeah, so 80 degrees, yeah, and with 17 degrees, like west, magnetic difference, that seems reasonable. I think we can play around with this, make sure we just gonna test it once more. If I veer off course more to the right, yes. Okay, I am convinced. And here we see the road turning to the right, but we're going to. I'm assuming we're roughly there. We're roughly there now with the road turning. But now we'll be able to continue on this heading and cut out all that extra part there. Beautiful. No need to follow the road when we have a radio station telling us where we are. I remember something in the video I watched about this. It's something else like you also turn towards the arrow. Does that make sense? Yeah, it feels like it. Beautiful. I've been neglecting my mixture for this flight so long. Let's see if we can squeeze out a little bit more. Okay, that's good. There's something of, I saw a video where you pull the mixture out until you hit your maximum RPMs or something, and then you see it'll drop again, and then you give it a little bit again to be something like, I can't remember what it's called, left of lean or something. Again, I think that's the type of thing when I eventually or one day do my PPL will really focus on, maybe even more for this one. It feels like this plane doesn't give me a lot to work with. Not sure what that one. Oh, that is the I think alternator that charges the battery. Okay. So goodbye road. We are flying into this void here in front of us, listening to that radio station, or NDB. Forget what NDB stands for. I saw something about you can actually use, or some people can use like old AM radio stations as well with this thing. If you know the station's frequency, Not sure if that's true. Maybe it's a bit of a more of a little life hack. I don't know. Makes sense. I'm still not exactly sure, as I said, how the needle knows to point in that direction, like mechanically or electromechanically. I know how the VOR does it. It's quite smart. I don't know how that one does it, but the engineer inside me would want to figure that out. Okay. Let's see if we can bring down this visor. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. I think it's fine. We're doing a good, what's that, 95 knots. Okay, let's see. We see a little, is that a body of water or is it just a salt pan? As I said, I think, you know, we're departing ways with the road there. Interesting. It looks like we will cross another road as well eventually, as well as a river. I should have drawn a straight line through here. Always forget. Okay, I don't see this potentially dried up lake on the map. The map doesn't show everything, so it's okay. That needle does fluctuate a little. I don't like that thing is on that red line. Maybe. Just brought the throttle back ever so slightly. Still doing about 90 knots. It's interesting that they put that dial so far to the right. I'm assuming your co-pilot can also help with that, but I would have thought that they would at the very least, you know, put it a little closer to the eyesight of the pilot. You know, maybe somewhere here, or I guess the RPM, if you know how to use it, is probably more important, but it's still a lot, like I need to physically move out of my seat to get there. We can close the map a little bit. Let's just enjoy this beautiful, again, super flat area. I wonder, like, if pilots these days need to learn Morse code. Is that still a requirement? Because, right, like this thing, I can hear the frequency, and I'm guessing if I look on little nav map, it'll tell me the dash dot dash like pattern as well. Well, I think it should just also have a name. Where is it now? Let's see if we can still see it. So it should have a 3-letter. Oh, 2-letter. Let's see. Maybe VORs have 2 letters. Sorry, 3 letters, and this has 2. Doesn't seem to only airports. Okay, you can't get more information about this, but I'm gonna guess that the Morse coded spelling out is probably G, Z, or Golf Zulu. That's, I don't know Morse code, but it's quite interesting to think of. I can't imagine that pilots still have to learn that in this day and age. I haven't seen anything about that. But I think they transmit the name with this and with VORs is just because there's a limited amount of frequencies they can use. So if you think you're going to one VOR but then you're actually going to another one, that could be quite catastrophic. So it's just a smart way that they used to be able to identify it and basically confirm that you are going to the right VOR. This road here looks substantial. Could it be that one? Going in a northeast direction? No, it doesn't look like it. Curious. Okay, our arrow is a little bit deviated. Let's bring it back. Cool. I think I chose an interesting route because the first country and a half is basically desert and very flat as well. Okay, did we just leave an airspace? Did I maybe
124.7 Cessna 42? Goodbye.
Maybe fly over this?
Windhoek Center, Cessna 42, 6,300 feet.
Cessna 42, Windhoek Center, QNH 29.9, 2 radar contact. Continue.
I must say, this is a interesting feeling. I don't have an actual road to follow. The VORs I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with. The landmarks here are few and far between. I do imagine myself seeing a river there. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, we carried on straight there, and I see a river roughly. Okay, I think we can safely say that that's that river. Our heading is still roughly 80 degrees. Let's bring back, make sure our arrow points in the direction of our little plane there. Again, we don't have any way of knowing our distance from that thing. We only know our heading. But at that point we'll hopefully see it, if we get close to it. you know, next episode we'll probably fly to Maun, and then I think we need to do some exploring there. We may even do a whole episode or we don't need to do a circle. We can maybe still make some headway, but the point will definitely be exploration in that area more than the goal of covering big distances. So, you know, subscribe if you want to see that one. Especially if you've been to the Okavango, I think having seen it from an airplane like this once before, it really is quite a special place. Very beautiful. I really hope the game can capture it nicely. Okay, we see a river, we see a road, and we see a diagonal road. Yeah. Yes. The river seems to be crossing. Yeah, it crosses at a nice little, you know, meandering piece of the river there. This is so cool. Really, when I saw the ADF thing, I'm like, what is this? I have no idea. Googled it, couldn't get too much, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and then I'm like, that is actually quite useful, especially for us. Without GPS, it's really cool. And its range seems to be a little bit more reasonable. You know, this one was 34. Oh, sorry, this one was 75 nautical miles, where I don't know why all the VORs these days I come across, they're like 34 nautical miles. It's so short. So, because when I started, you know, learning how to fly with the VORs, I flew in Cape Town and around that area, and that VOR I think is like 200 or 195. And it was so nice, and then I thought they all worked like that, because why wouldn't they? But alas, no, they don't. And I didn't know that when I
Cessna 42, contact Gaborone Center on 126.1.
yeah. See, I think we crossed over this air.
126.1 Cessna 42.
We're crossing some airspace.
Goodbye.
Over this corner probably now, that's why
Gaborone Center,
ATC is
7,100
talking to us so much. But yeah, I didn't even know that the VOR is at such limited range when I set off on this, when I embarked on this journey, and I already thought it would be hard. So imagine my surprise when I learned just how few VORs there are left and how short their range is. I mean, I like a little challenge, and that's what keeps us spicy, especially when we're doing flights like this in the desert. Anything to spice it up a little, I think, will be nice. We can, I think, turn the volume down of this thing if the constant, although it is quite soothing, I must say. It's nice to hear the plane talking to me. I guess we can make the argument that flying with VORs and ADF is almost like GPS, but just with a lot of extra steps. But you know, those extra steps do make it very interesting. and very rewarding, so I do like it. Let's just have another look here. It's see, I always look at this and I'm like, short flight. And we're just over the halfway line now, probably at around 2/3, or 5/8 maybe. Yeah. Let's just have a look and see if there are any other notable things to look out for. Not really seeing any. I was wondering, because it seemed like I was following the river. Our arrow tells us we need to go a little bit more to the left, away from that river. So, in that direction. Cool. If I remember, I'll put in the comments, or not the comments, the description what ADF and NDB stands for, because I'm also curious now, can't remember. I think it's automatic direction finder, but that's something feels wrong, I'm not sure. Wonder what all this, all these patches of land are for. They could maybe be agricultural, and then the game just doesn't quite render them that way. There does seem to be some pattern here of roads. Seems I'm slightly off course again. Okay. Is this a runway that I see here below? Could it be? If it is, it's not on the map. That does have the remnants of a runway. Probably not. Probably my imagination. Just get this back up. Okay. There's the river. Let's get our course back. We can start, I guess, thinking about our runway and our town. So there's the station we're going to. We're gonna go to runway 06. It's asphalt, it's right next to a road here, which I find quite interesting. How close to that road is this? Wow. How big is this town? Water treatment. Okay, there's a water treatment plant to the southeast. Bunch of roads here. What is that? Hospitals. Okay. I'll just get my bearings again. It's also going to be quite interesting to see, you know, how much I stayed on course by looking at the flight path afterwards in little nav map. How much did I snake around, well, an imaginary straight line where I think, you know, what would be the shortest path. So we'll see. I quite enjoy that in my flights, you know, flying quote unquote blindly here, and then at the end seeing how it all worked out. It's cool. Little nav map is it's a really cool piece of software. I'm curious to know how long it's been. I can probably just have a look, like how long it has been a tool. It must have been for quite a while. Like, I can't imagine that coming out at the same time as this game, because to have built that in such a relatively short time is quite impressive. This extension I'm using interfaces with the little nav map. It's not, I think it's made by someone else, and that's also quite cool. Really useful. One other thing that I also thought would be very nice is they call it like a knee board, which pilots sometimes use, or they have a little clipboard that's on the yoke, just to be able to write down the key elements of your flight. Like, for example, this one I would have been able to say, like the ADF frequency isn't that bad because I won't change it during the flight, but we're multiple VORs, you know, putting it on there, or the runway heading we're going, the runway number, of course, and, you know, your basic, maybe the runway altitude. Let's see what the runway altitude is now that we can. 4,730, I think. Oh no, I'm confused. Hold on. Oh no, that's that point 3,700. So we're at about 7,000. So yeah, it's height above sea level. So that gives us a rough estimate of how high we actually are above the ground. About 3,500 feet. Yeah. The first time I flew in the real world in a normal commercial, you know, jet or whatever, I was surprised at how well you're able to make out things on the ground. Because if you look at a plane, you can't really see the people, obviously. But if you're on the plane, it's quite impressive how, like this, for example, now here, when I thought this initially, I'm like, wow, this can't be 3,000 feet. But then I remember from the plane, like if you fly over a neighborhood, you can see, like when you're coming to land or just took off, you can see like individual pools and individual cars, and and even people. So it's. I was just surprised. I thought like, okay, once you're above a certain height, you can't see anything anymore. Just ground. Okay, starting to see some more hints of civilization there in front, maybe. We're still pretty much. I can maybe correct it a little bit. I really hope this works. It's so far matched roughly with what the map showed me. So if I were to guess, I would think we're roughly here now. Yeah, probably. But similarly, if we were to overfly this, I would just assume that needle is going to spin all the way around. And when we get close there, we anyway have to visually find the runway. It's, as I said, runway 06. So we'll look for a runway that ever so slightly seems to go off the current course that we're going, and is seemingly right next to a big road. Surprised that I guess such a small dam probably won't make it onto a map like this. So it's probably not there. What do you know? Yep. It's got like that weird. It's got a very distinct shape. I'm going off course. I think that's exactly that. So we're just to the right of that. So we're roughly there. That was a nice surprise. Thank you, map, for giving us a little bit more confidence. So let's just think in terms of distance. We just passed that little speck there. The last real frame of reference we had was that crossing of the road and that river. Yeah, I think we're very close. If that's 20 nautical miles, sorry, if that distance 20 nautical miles, that's probably around 8. We should be there in no time. Exciting. I wonder with ADF. No, see, that's the thing with ADF, with NDBs. You can't use it like a VOR, I think, where you can fly away from a VOR at a certain heading. I think the ADF is a little bit more one-dimensional in the sense that it just points towards it. So I don't believe you can really use it as a way of flying away from it like you can with a VOR. If you can, and it's wrong, please, I'm here to learn. Correct me if I'm wrong. So many numbers and things in this cockpit, and this is probably, like one of the most straightforward planes. Right, we see a big road there on that, on the left there. I'm guessing that's this one. Guessing it's that road. Yeah, there's a little bend in that road. That bend seems to correspond with that, so we're roughly, yeah, we're almost there, I think. I think I can probably start bringing my altitude down a little. Runways at 3,700 feet, so we're obviously very high. Height is still valuable because it makes it a little bit easier to spot it. Well, sometimes being lower makes it easy to spot it, but it's easier to go. Well, it's also hard to go down sometimes because you do gain a lot of airspeed when you do, so you need to just manage that as well. What we could also do is just follow that road directly, but I think if our ADF has brought us this far, we might as well use it. Could this town, yeah, could this be the town here in front? It's a little hazy. Quite cool being able to look through the propeller or see the propellers, you know, the way it interferes with the vision a little, but it's, I think, pretty accurate. This does feel like a little town. So road coming in from the south. That'd be that one there. Okay. I think that should be our waterworks. That was to the south east of it. That looks, there seems to be some waterwork or a water treatment plant. Let's go down. I'm definitely gonna just do a flyby and orient myself with the area. Ooh, I think I see the runway. South east. Could that be our runway? We did say it's runway 06. I'm gonna sharply reduce altitude a little. Go to about 4,000 probably. It should give us about 1,400, 1,700 above the runway. Yeah, I'm pretty confident given that the runway heading is 06. I'm not going to make the mistake of last time of too hastily just wanting to land. If you remember from last episode, I did do a go around, so it all ended up okay, but it was a close one. Alrighty, so two big areas there. Now the question is, which one is the runway? So So we're gonna... Oh, it's in the middle. That's... Okay. So I'm not coming into land because I'm too high.
Tower Cessna 422 miles southwest, 5,200 feet to land.
Yeah, we're gonna probably, you know, let's fly over the right. Let's have a look and see at that water treatment plant, how it looks.
Make
But
left
yeah,
traffic runway 24, Cessna 42.
Make left traffic runway 24. Okay, it wants me to land at runway 24. That's maybe not the worst idea. So, okay. So what we'll do... Interesting. I see that when this runway 06, I thought it would always put both numbers. It only says 6. I thought it would say 06. I'm gonna just fly out a little bit to the side. The air traffic controller wanted me to land on runway runway 24. I'm gonna heed their instructions because that probably has something to do with the wind. That's, I think, how it usually works. You would try and get some, you know, weather instructions and weather information, and get instructions from the tower of what is the days. Okay, wind calm, good. That's the
Clear to land runway 24, Cessna 42.
you know, the wind changes direction obviously, and runways usually have preferred ways just because they know in this area maybe the wind usually blows this way, but it can change from one day to another. So we're just gonna fly out a little. I'm not sure about what all of these procedures are called, but it's something like is it approach leg, base leg, final leg, something like that, where this might be completely wrong, where this may be the approach one and then this one is our base, I think, and then the last one being final when you're lined up, I think. So we're going for runway 24. We didn't go out very far, so we're going to have to quite quickly get into the correct line. I'm gonna reduce my throttle a little. Mixture, let's go mixture rich. And we just wanna get in line with that runway. Quickly wanna quit this. There we go. A bit high. Let's lead off some of the speed. Flaps first level, a little high, but let's glide, bringing flaps down all the way. Okay. Killing the throttle. Oof. probably a little bit of a hard landing. But that worked. Okay. Let's bring the flaps back up. Let's go land at our, or I think I remember something. I'll close the map. Let's see where the runway exits are. Let's reduce our speed a little. Yeah, look at although the windsock. Yes, look at the windsock. It is a little bit in this direction, so that was probably why. It's not a lot. It's a very slight breeze, I think, but it's still good to always land into the. Oh, there's a petrol station or a petrol pump. Let's make our way there. You probably wouldn't. You probably wanna. Park it in a way that you can turn away again. Just remember the wings are quite long. Yeah, glad I didn't destroy the petrol pump. Okay, wonderful. Let's quickly get this turned off. Let's turn this thing off because it's a little loud now. Turning the magnetos, engine. Oh, there we go. Everything off. Wonderful. Ooh, almost exactly an hour flight. Terrain-wise, very much of the same desert we're used to, but I'm really glad we got the ADF working and was able to successfully use that. Let's have a quick look at our flight. So yeah, pretty much exactly. Although I say that, no, yeah, pretty much exactly. I initially thought I maybe have chosen the wrong road here, but just as we wanted, we saw this, we got into the range of it, and that allowed us to skip this entire area, going straight through. Saw it, came in line, did a little. So I think this, you probably want that a little bit more parallel and then a little bit more perpendicular and then a little bit more. Well, that was fine. I think my airspeed was maybe ever so slightly a little too fast on that landing. But yeah, we're parked right here, parking 7. Next stop, the Okavango Delta. It's gonna be. I think this is a very long. It's gonna be probably an hour and a half, 2-hour flight maybe. A lovely VOR with DME waiting for us right here. Excited for that. As soon as we get, we'll measure its range tomorrow, but it's small. It's like roughly there. We could make a stop here in one of these small airfields, but I think, since we have this lovely highway here, we've got a big lake, and that's probably gonna be our flight. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you ever want to see more, it helps to subscribe, because then YouTube may show you the videos when I upload them. If you're following the series, I really hope you enjoy it and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.